Okay, so the first step is to make sure that your chicken is done, and for that, I get out my Thermapen, which if you don't have one, I'm begging you, please get one. This is the most accurate thermometer out there. I honestly don't know how you could barbecue without one. So I get my Thermapen out, and you stick it into the breast meat. Be careful not to pierce the skin in case it's not done. And you just want to find the meat, don't go into the cavity. And you want to see at least 165, which, yeah, we're right there, 165 and a half, 166. So I know we're good. So I'm done with the thermometer, and then we begin pulling apart the chicken. So I always start by pulling off the legs. And you know the chicken's done when that happens. So that's always a pretty good sign to see. When that bone comes clean out, you know that you've done a good job cooking your chicken. So we'll leave that in there. And you've got your leg meat. So I just toss that in a bowl aside. And as you can see, all this meat just comes right clean off the bone because we smoked this sucker for about 5 hours. And so it comes really clean, really easy. Do be careful for these small bones in here. If you've never pulled apart a chicken before, that's where you have to be careful, is there's a lot of little bones in your chicken. So I'm always real careful to get out all those ligaments and pieces of bone. And you just tear it apart like that. The next step, make it easier for you, and you want the chicken to cool off, pull off the skin. So we're just going to peel back the skin all the way around. And this sucker has been resting for about 30 minutes. If possible, you want your chickens to rest for at least 15 minutes. If not 30 minutes or even an hour, really, you're okay. So I let this one rest for about 30 minutes. Number one, to let it cool off, but I don't know if you can see that, but it is absolutely pooled with juices in there. I mean, the juices are just absolutely pooling up in my pan. So that's always a good sign. And you can see my stuffing is still in the bird. So for the breasts, there's a bone in the middle, and you really just kind of want to try to rip the whole thing out like that. And once you have the big chunks of meat out, you can make it as small as you want. Leave them big, get it into smaller pieces, whatever you want. So I just rip it right on out. Sometimes I want it pulled into big chunks, depends on what I want to do, or I'll do real small pieces and kind of have a pulled chicken sandwich, so to speak, or we'll put them on nachos. Delicious. And you can see the smoke ring on that. I don't know if you can see that real well, but it's got a real pretty smoke ring. I used apple wood when I smoked this chicken. And you just keep working around, pulling out all the meat. After you're done on this side, I'll flip the bird over, and because I hate wasting anything, I'll pull all the meat off the back as well. And you can really just rip your fingers along here, and the meat will just basically come out just like that. Obviously, you want to pull the skin off first, like you saw me just do. And that skin, really, it just pulls right off, as you can see. Again, another good sign that, number one, you cooked it right, but number two, you let it rest for a while. When you let the bird rest, the skin comes right off like that. You just keep working your way around. That's about it. That's how you do it. Okay, so I am done pulling the meat off this bird, but there is one last step, and this is one of my secrets, and you cannot pass this step up, okay? So you see the carcass of the bird here with everything ripped off. Now, I take it and I squeeze out all the extra juices right into the pulled meat. And that is such an awesome last step, because that's all that natural juice from all the stuffing. As you can see here, this one I stuffed some apples, some onions, some garlic inside of it, along with some spices. So then you want to keep all this, as well as some of the skin, when you make your smoked chicken broth. That is really important. So all this flavor, including some of the meat on the back, you actually want to keep some of that back meat on there. My wife Patty would kill me if I didn't mention that, because she always tells me, make sure you leave some meat on there. I keep the best stuff for my guests, of course, but I leave some of that back meat on there because you need that to make a really good, rich broth. So I leave a little bit of that back meat on there. I leave all the innards in the broth. And I'm telling you, you have to do this. Is not trash. Take this and make some smoked chicken broth. So now you've got an awesome presentation. I left one leg out here, and you've got the pulled meat someone wants a leg, I mean, you could always pull that apart too. I just think it makes for a cool presentation when you're having people over. You've got your pulled meat, make some sandwiches, make some nachos, whatever you want. You got your carcass for some chicken broth, and you're good to go. That is how you pull apart a whole chicken.